What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Playmakers Corner podcast. I'm your host for today, Simon Villanos, aka Coach V, and we got another great episode here. It's your Week 8 2024 NAIA Women's Flag Football recap, and we got some interesting games this week here, both in Georgia, Kentucky, Florida, Kansas, all over the country. So a lot of great stuff to cover. And so without further ado, you know what? Let's just go ahead and hop right into it. Starting off with this matchup in Georgia, number 7 Weber going to number 14 Life. This game, it took place on, I want to say March 3rd. April 3rd. Now it's April 3rd, Wednesday here. And, you know, this would be a solid one. So let's go ahead and hop into it. Weber starting on offense, getting off to a pretty quick start here. Sam Wilson at quarterback throws the curl left to Zoe Mello, who slips a tackle and takes off for a huge 25-plus yard play. So now it's 1st and inches, basically at midfield here. And Wilson would find Caitlin Sigmundy on the hitch route, who then pitches it to, and I couldn't see the number. I apologize. And if I get people wrong, I apologize. Camera's kind of tough, I'm not gonna lie, so it's a little hard to see numbers here, but Sigmundy pitches it to somebody else who gets a solid gain and most importantly gives them a first down pass midfield. It's now 1st and 11. Following that, Wilson with a quick throw to the flat to Riley Bolser. She gets some good yards after the catch. She makes it 1st and 20. So there you go there. The first 3 plays all go for first downs for Weber. On first here, Wilson would then scramble right up the middle and get about 10 yards here. And then on second, Wilson would roll right and then throw a very ill-advised pass across her body towards the middle here, trying to find her check down. But that is read extremely well and picked off by Jayla Wright, who doesn't only intercept it, but she returns it to the house here about almost 70 yards or so on this pick 6 to go ahead and put Life up 6-0. Now, on the PAT, Kamaya Graves, the quarterback, just walks it in left to make it 7-0. And just like that, Life just steals all the momentum here. You got to remember, for Weber, they had 3 straight plays that resulted in 3 first downs, and then the one play that didn't result in a first down was still a 10-yard gain. And so for all of that to happen and just be gone in an instant and swing like completely the opposite way is absolutely insane. Now Weber, they take over with 9-10 left, looking to get some of that going here, and it starts out pretty solid. Wilson finds Caitlin Sigmundy on the curl, who makes it 1st and 17. Following that, Wilson then takes a shot deep after some time in the pocket and finds a wide open receiver, Riley Bolser, who brings in a nice reception for a big chunk play here. A little underthrown. I think if she threw it farther, it might have been a touchdown, but still, that would be enough to put them in the red zone after 2 plays just like that. So now it's 1st and 20. Now 1st and 20 here. Wilson under pressure just pitches it forward to her running back utility player, Simon Gonzalez. Gets about 2. Then on second, she checks it down again to Bria Cam, her center. She makes it 3rd and 7 on a solid gain. Then on 3rd down here, Wilson gets a snap, throws the out route, but it's a little bit too high here and goes off the receiver's hands. And it is intercepted again, this time I believe by Akira Braithwaite, who gets it off the tip. And so Life takes over with a 1st and 18 here with 6:01 left. 2 red zone trips for Weber, resulting in 0 touchdowns here in the first quarter. And so Life gets a chance here, but they are kind of backed up, and so they try to do their best to get out of this situation, but a tough incompletion on 2nd and 18, as well as a check down that pretty much goes nowhere, would result in a 3 and out as they're not able to get enough yards. Now Weber takes over with basically a 1st and inches with 3:58 left here, past midfield, I believe. I want to say, or sorry, not past midfield yet. Sorry. So 1st and inches with 3:58 left. They run a quick bubble to Riley Bolser, who makes it 1st and 16. Now that should get them past midfield. After an incompletion here, they go ahead and They find Zoe Mello for a solid gain. That brings up 3rd and 3 on a gain of about 13 here. And then Wilson checks it down to Gonzalez, who spins out of a tackle and gets a nice gain, putting them in the red zone for the 3rd time this game here. It's 1st and 2. Wasn't quite able to score here. And so after a drop, it's 2nd down here. Wilson checks it back down to Gonzalez, but she's stopped right at the line here. So now it's 3rd and inches here. Wilson throws the slant and it is dropped. So now it's 4th down, and that's where we are here at the top of the 2nd quarter. 4th and inches for Weber here, and Wilson gets a snap, drops back, has an open out route, throws it, but it is overthrown here. Another missed opportunity and another turnover on downs. That is Weber's 3rd red zone trip that resulted in no points, just basically in the 1st quarter. This one technically ending in the 2nd. Now, luckily for them, Life continues to struggle here, not getting anything as they go 3 and out on 3rd down here. Graves would throw up the seam to Alteria Gooch, but she trips just as she releases it, so she doesn't have a great... obviously, she's not able to make a play on that, and so that's another 3 and out for Life. Their 2nd one in as many drives. Not exactly the greatest offensive game so far. Now, Weber takes over with 9 minutes left here, and here's what happens. It's 1st and 2 here. They go ahead and pick up that 1st down, though. Wilson finding Riley Bolser on the out, making it 1st and 18 past the midfield. Wilson then goes back to Bolser on that same out here. I think on the other side, though, making it 2nd and 2 on a nice gain of 16 there. And then on 2nd here, Wilson scrambles right, tries to throw it over the middle, but it is incomplete and kind of dangerous. A lot like the last interception, or the first interception she threw. So now it's 3rd and 2 here. They just direct snap it to Gonzalez, who runs it up the middle. Gets some nice yards too here, putting them in the red zone and giving them the 1st down of 1st and 10 here. I want to say this is their 4th red zone trip here in the 2nd quarter. And on 1st down, Wilson scrambles right, gets a solid gain, making some defenders miss, almost scores here, but is stopped just short. So now it's 2nd and 1. But on 2nd down, Wilson gets sacked by number 15 of Life, and Life's rosters are still not complete, so I have no idea who that is. But number 15 with a big play, making it now 3rd and 7. And on 3rd down, Wilson is scanning, but once again is forced to scramble, just not finding anyone. So now it's 4th and 1. Once more, 4th and 1 again. Now, Weber calls a timeout at 4:33 to really talk about this. And then here's what happens. Wilson gets a snap and throws the fade route to Riley Bolser, but this throw is just too low. So it's another turnover on downs, their 4th straight empty red zone trip. They've literally drove into the red zone every offensive drive so far, but just have not been able to execute. Now, speaking of struggling to execute here, Life's offensive problems continue to struggle here as well. Kamaya Graves does give them a 1st down here on a scramble right, which is crazy because it was a 1st and 18. But then a check down is dropped, and then they would, get a slant to Michaela Morgan to give them a 1st and 16. Now the 2-minute warning hits here. 1st down, incomplete. 2nd down, another incompletion, but almost picked there. 3rd down, Graves scrambles up the middle and gets some yards, but it's still 4th and 9, and so Life would punt it. So they do get 2 1st downs, I think, but just not able to do anything with that. Now Weber take over with a 1st and 6 with about 45 seconds left. They start with an end around to Caitlin Sigmundy, who throws it back to Sam Wilson, who then throws it back to Sigmundy, who's over the middle, and gets a nice gain here, giving them a 1st and 13 past midfield. Then on 1st down, Wilson goes back to Sigmundy on the curl, who makes it 1st and 20, putting them in the red zone for the 5th time here. Now, a timeout is called here with about 19 seconds left. And then after that, on 1st down, Wilson goes back to Sigmundy on that curl to make it 2nd and 8. Weber calls a timeout after 5 seconds pass, so now there's 14 left here. Out of the timeout, Wilson gets a snap, goes over the top to Sigmundy. She catches it, but they say she was out or that the ball hit the ground on the way down. Either way, it's incomplete. It's a little questionable, I'm not going to lie. So it makes it now 3rd down. with about 7 seconds left. And on third here, Wilson goes up the seam left to Cheyenne Duran, who makes a nice catch and makes it 7-6. On the PAT, they're trying to tie it, but it is incomplete, so it's no good, as Life has a 7-6 lead over Weber. Now, Life, after halftime, they start with it here, looking to build on that lead, and a quick out to Akira Braithwaite makes it 2nd and 2. Following that, Graves gets a big first down here, making it 1st and 16 on the scramble. Then on first down, Graves rolls left, throws a post to Alteria Gooch, who gets the ball and rips off a big gain here, making it 1st and 12 past midfield, a gain of about 24 there. So a big one to get them going. Then on first here, Graves tries to throw the check down, but it is tipped up at the line and intercepted by Sammy Gonzalez, who honestly makes a really good read on this play here. And so that gives Weber the ball back with a chance to potentially take the lead. Now Weber, they have a 1st and 2 approaching midfield here with about under 10 minutes left here, and Wilson would go ahead and give them that first down past the midfield on a scramble. Following that, she throws a curl left to Zoe Mello, making it 2nd and 6. Then Wilson throws the corner to Cheyenne Duran, who is wide open, but the throw is a little late, definitely late and short, and Duran drops it as well, so not the best looking play, but it was definitely there. Now on third, it looks like Wilson tries to check it down and it is dropped. So now that brings up 4th down after a couple of Weber mistakes here. And Weber calls the first timeout here, trying to get it together. And then out of the timeout, Wilson gets a snap, checks it down to Sammy Gonzalez, makes a big play splitting the defenders, and is just able to reach the ball out to make it 1st and 20 in the red zone. It looked like she might not have made it, but she made a good move here and reached that ball out, and that was big time, saving this drive, which looked like a mess. Now, 1st and 20 here, Wilson throws the out to Bolser. She gets a nice gain here after the catch, making it 2nd and 3. Following that, Wilson rolls right and almost throws across her body again, but hesitates and then just ends up taking a really bad sack from Jayla Wright. So now it's 3rd and 10 here with some room to operate. And then on third here, Wilson rolls right and throws another really bad interception across her body. But luckily, there is contact before that throw on the rusher where she got knocked over. So that's a penalty, and so now it's 3rd and 5 here, that mistake being erased. And on 3rd down, Wilson runs it in right to make it 12-7 as Weber finally takes the lead after 6 red zone trips here. Yes, you counted that right. 6 red zone trips, that means 5 in the first half. So there you go there. And then on the PAT, Wilson throws the out route to Sammy Gonzalez to make it 13-7. Now, Life, they take over, but the struggles continue. Although throw is incomplete. On second, it's a bad snap, so now it's 3rd and 15. And then on 3rd and 15, Graves tries to throw it over the middle, but Weber is expecting that, and they almost pick it, but instead it's dropped, and so now they go 3 and out. And so Weber takes over with a 1st and 1 near midfield with less than 3 minutes left here. A solid return there, solid positioning there. And here's what happens. Wilson would go ahead and get them across midfield with a check down to Gonzalez to make it 1st and 14. Then she would throw an out route here to make it 2nd and 8. Then on second, she throws it out left to Cheyenne Duran, who gets a nice gain after the catch to give them a first down in the red zone of 1st and 14. In the red zone here, Wilson throws the out to Riley Bolser, who speeds up the sideline to make it 19-7 as they take command of this game with about 39 seconds left. Then it looks like Weber's going for 2 here as Wilson throws the post to Riley Bolser in the back of the end zone to go ahead and make this one a 21-7 game here. Life, they go ahead and take over here with about 39 seconds left, but this drive once more would go nowhere as a couple scrambles, a drop snapped again, and an overthrow, and another drop would result in a 3 and out. Now Weber would not score on this next drive, a big drop, a couple drops there, resulting in a 3 and out. And following the punt, Life would take over just before midfield, but Graves would find Alteria Gooch down the left sideline to give them a first past midfield, a 1st and 13. Following that, Graves would go back to Gooch here on the drag to make it 2nd and 1. And then a check down to J-Lo Wright would go ahead and put them in the red zone. On first down, there's an incompletion. On second, there's a check down to their center, number 17, to make it 3rd and 10. Then on third here, Graves scrambles right to make it 4th and 3. And then on 4th and 3, it looks like it's a quarterback design run left here. And Graves scores, cutting into the lead to make it 21-13 with 3:27 left. Now on the PAT, Graves finds a receiver here, but the PAT is dropped. So that gives Weber the ball back here, still up by 8 points. Now Weber, they go ahead and get a check down to Caitlin Sigmundy, who then pitches it right to Gonzalez to give them a first down, a 1st and 12, just before midfield to be specific. Then Wilson finds Sigmundy on the drag route here, but there is also a penalty against Life, so they tag that on. So now it's 1st and 4 here, just before midfield, I believe. And then Wilson once more tries to go left and throws it, but it's a bad decision across her body, so it's incomplete. Now 3rd and 4 with about a minute 56 here as the 2-minute warning hits. Weber not really trying to run out the clock, which is interesting. Wilson goes deep to Riley Bolser, who has a step on her DB and probably would have scored on a touchdown, but it is overthrown. And so Weber punts with 150 left. Remember, the clock stops for every incompletion inside the 2-minute mark. So a little bit of questionable clock management here as Life takes over with the 1st and 12 with a minute 36 left in this game. And so still a chance here, and here's what happens on first down. Graves rolls right and finds Alteria Gooch on the deep curl. That makes it 2nd and inches. Following that, Graves gets a snap and immediately throws it with 2 hands to her center, number 17, who then pitches it right to Jayla Wright, who then pitches it again to the star Alteria Gooch, who then goes to the house as Life pulls close within 2 and make it a 21-19 game with 58 seconds left here. And so Life going for 2, trying to tie this game. Graves gets a snap, dances around trying to buy time before throwing it low and also short of the goal line, and this is well covered here, and so it's knocked away, and unfortunately it's just a tough decision as the pressure kind of got there. And so now Life is down 2 here. Weber gets the ball. They really only need 1 first down, and mind you, it's a 1st and 6 that they start with. They need 1 first down to put this game away for sure here, and then they could just take knees. But Weber is passing it, and they have 3 straight incompletions, including an overthrow on a deep bomb, which I don't know why we're still taking those, and then a 3rd down drop on a short throw. So they go 3 and out. That's 2 incompletions, which stops the clock both times. And so Life gets the ball back with 36 seconds left here and solid field positioning. A little bit of hope with a chance to win it. And so here's how it goes down. Graves throws the quick out, but she doesn't get out of bounds. So now it's 2nd and 2 as the clock is running. And on 2nd down, Graves gets snapped, scrambles left for a solid gain, and a 1st down past midfield. The clock temporarily stops. Now it's 1st and 9 here on a solid gain, but it looks like Graves is a little shaken up here, and so I believe Life is forced to use a timeout, where they talk about it, and then she comes back out onto the field looking to be seemingly okay for now. And so here we go, 1st and 9 past midfield. Here's what happens. Graves rolls right and just takes a little bit too long here trying to scan and throws it away with about 2 seconds left. And then on this next play, Graves gets a snap, throws a quick post to Alteria Gooch, who's looking to pitch, but she's not able to find anyone as it is well covered. And so her flag is pulled, and this game is over here. A very thrilling game here. A game that Weber almost gave away with some weird clock management and so many missed opportunities. Let's talk about player of the game, though. I think player of the game easily has to be Riley Bolser. She made a lot of big plays that really kept these chains moving, which was big time. Even if they didn't always convert, she gave them a lot of chances, which is what matters here. Some other stats that I want to mention: Kamaya Graves completed 13 passes for 145 yards, had 2 touchdowns, 1 passing, 1 rushing. Also led the team with 44 rushing yards. Mariah Hodges led life with 7 pulls, while Susan Adegoke had 3 tackles and 3 sacks in her debut. So there you go there. Let me go ahead and talk about Weber first here. This might be the worst game that I've ever seen them play, and they have ended up winning. So many mistakes, including 2 interceptions on the first 2 drives, and then 4 empty trips to the red zone out of their first 5 red zone trips. They would score, in the second and in the third, pretty much back to back there, to go ahead and take that lead, and they wouldn't look back after that. But then they kind of let life back into it. Some incompletions, bad decision making. I don't think you should really be taking deep shots here when you only need like 5 to 10 yards. So, there's some slight overconfidence there, but they found a way to win, right? And this is honestly probably a team they probably should have beat by more. They just did not play a good game, to be honest. They honestly played a game that they deserved to lose, if we're being real there. So, there you go, but they won, and they continue to move on from there, surviving a pretty big scare here. Now, life, this was a game that they had. They had multiple opportunities to win it. They just couldn't quite get there here. I think offensively, they could have done a little bit better in those 30 seconds. Graves, just a tough decision there, taking too much time after that timeout to make a throw, which took a lot of time off the clock. But they're a young team, and they have some really interesting pieces here. I've always said this, Alteria Gooch is a great wide receiver for them. Kamaya Graves has showed a lot of potential as a dual threat quarterback. As of right now, if I'm life, I feel very comfortable with her as the program's starting quarterback moving forward. I think she could really develop and whatnot as she continues to learn, and is definitely not a bad option. So still a lot of good stuff to work with. If you're life, you like how you continue to battle all game here. They also stopped them. They got 2 turnovers in that first quarter. While they were backed up into their own red zone, they had multiple red zone stops here. Unfortunately, the offense just really struggled putting together some of those longer drives here that started in that first zone. And so, unfortunately, this one kind of just got away from them. They had their chances, but it is what it is, and hopefully they learn from it. But once more, Weber, they take care of life here, winning an absolute thriller, 21-19. Now, moving on, we have a pretty big KCAC matchup here on the same day. We had number 5 Kansas Wesleyan versus number 9 Baker. If you remember, a couple weeks ago, Baker winning a thriller here by just a score or so against KWU here. And Kansas Wesleyan, coming off a pretty big win against Ottawa, this game was one that they really needed to win in order to take complete control of the conference here moving forward as a potential regular season conference champion, which would be the first time ever. And so that's how big this game was. And you could tell as Kansas Wesleyan was pretty locked in here. Chihiro Wada would throw 5 touchdowns, 4 of them going to her star receiver Angel Roman, and they would amass a 24-0 lead with no PATs included by halftime. So that's how locked in they were. 3 of those touchdowns went to Angel Roman. 1 went to Nakia Lloyd, who scored in the last seconds of the second there. So there you go. Baker would score with about 29 seconds left in the third to make it 24-7. But this game was pretty much out of reach by this point. In the fourth here, Awada would find Roman for another touchdown before finding Tori Lodarchek for a 2-point conversion to top it off. And then Baker, in the closing seconds of the game, would score a garbage time touchdown. Sanaya Waller finding Destiny Martinez to close it up. As Kansas Wesleyan wins a key game for their conference, 32-13 against Baker, Like I said, a huge game for them to win here. Do have some stats that I could go over. I want to go over here real quick. Chiro Wada, 25 of 34, 229 yards, 5 touchdowns. Obviously, player of the game here. Also 21 rushing yards. Angel Roman was her lead receiver. It says 3 touchdowns, but I'm pretty sure she caught 4. So there you go there. She had to have caught 4. So 6 receptions for 53 yards, 4 touchdowns. Whitfield right behind her, 6 for 50 there. Nakia Lloyd with that 1 touchdown as well. Defensively, Lexi Marquez had 9 total tackles. Mansour right behind her with 8. Anzian Rabano with 2 sacks in this game as they went to work. For Baker, the struggles kind of continue here. They have beat up on a lot of the teams below them, but have not been able to beat the top dogs in KW or Ottawa. And in this one, Sanaya Waller won 17 of 27, 117 yards, a touchdown. Also, it says she has a rushing touchdown here as well. And that's true because her 1 passing touchdown went to Destiny Martinez, who was basically the lead receiver with going for 6 of 38 and a touchdown. Faith Phillips with 1 reception for 39 yards, but nobody else really touches Martinez there. Martinez also led this team with 8 total pulls. Faith Phillips with 7 tackles here and an interception, picking off Emily Buell there, like I said, in garbage time. But regardless, Kansas Wesleyan winning a big one, 32-13 here, to take complete control now of the KCAC. Speaking of the KCAC, on the same day, we had Cottey, tied for 17 Cottey, playing number 12 Southwestern here. And this was the first matchup since Southwestern's first game a couple weeks ago now, where they would win an absolute thriller against Cottey. And this time it was not the track meet that it was last time, but still a pretty exciting one. In fact, this was extremely low scoring. Nobody would score into the 4th quarter, so let's go ahead and skip there. And Cottey would win this one here after Amaya Karula put together a nice drive, completing some splash plays to Laurencia Botts for 17, Shamis Lee for 23, and then a dagger here, a 25-yarder to Tamaya Squire to put them on the board for the only score of this game here, as Cottey would score with about 4 minutes left in the 4th. I'm pretty sure, if that is to be believed here, and would win this one 6-0. So Southwestern would have plenty of chances, but just really struggling on offense here. Miranda Dooley, 7 of 21, for 84 yards and 1 interception. She also had 14 rushing yards. Tegan Smith with 1 big 58-yarder. So there you go there. Now that I'm looking at it, takes up a big majority of those 84 passing yards, as that obviously didn't go anywhere. Viviana Solis really held in check here. Only 4 receptions for 14 yards. Also had 1 rush for 7, which is interesting. As Cottey's defense played really well against her. I might as well go over some of these other stats for Southwestern. Elisa Llamas, 7 tackles. Samuel Onosco, 6.5. Tegan Smith with 5. Solis only 2. Did have a pass breakup though. Mallory Lund with an interception there. For Cottey, offensively, not too much here. Maya Karula, 20 of 34, 181 yards. Obviously, that game-winning touchdown and a pick. Also had about 50 rushing yards, which was big time here. Tamaya Squire was her lead receiver, 6 receptions for 70 yards and a touchdown, as she's kind of been emerging as their lead offensive weapon, whether it's running the ball or catching it. So that's definitely an interesting development there, as she does have a lot of speed, so it makes sense. Shamis Lee right behind her, though, with 5 receptions for 49. Joliet Johnson with 5 receptions for 31 in this one. Defensively, Kenzie Murdoch led the team with 6 pulls. Suzanne Aubert with 3 tackles, also 2 TFLs in this one, playing a good game. And then as far as interceptions go, Chanel Norris had a big interception for Cottey in this one, as they upset Southwestern in a 6-0 game. in what looks like to be a little bit of a budding rivalry here. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this matchup for sure moving forward. All right, now moving on, let's go ahead and go to April 4th, Thursday. We have number 2 Warner making another trip here, or making a trip here to Georgia to play number 14 Life. Before I go into this, once again, gotta apologize if I get some of these names wrong. The camera was tough. It was really hard to see some of these jersey numbers, so excuse me if I get it wrong here. But, you know, Warner on a hot streak here, beating Point 60-0, University of Fort Lauderdale 50-0 going into this game. For Life, coming off a pretty tough loss here to Weber, but still a competitive game, though. And so let's go ahead and hop into it. Warner starting with the ball here. Shea Crooks in at quarterback. Throws it up the seam to Anna Vincenzini, who gets a big gain of about 15 plus. That gives them a 1st and 5 near midfield. Also, I think this is worth saying, but no Jessica Finley, I don't believe, in this game. So there you go there. Following that, Crooks finds a receiver on a curl route left. I believe that's Gianna Baglio for another first past the midfield. So now it's 1st and 17. 2 plays, 2 first downs. Now on 1st and 17 here, Crooks throws the out to Angeline Bunting to make it 2nd and 10. Then there's an incompletion, but then on 3rd and 10, Crooks goes back to Bunting here to make it 1st and 16 in the red zone. Couple big plays to get them there. Now on 1st down here in the red zone, Crooks checks it down here, gets maybe a yard or so, so now it's 2nd and 15. And then on 2nd down here, Crooks gets a snap and throws it the post here, a wide open post to Anna Vincenzini to make it a quick 6-0. Then on the PAT, Crooks throws a slant. It's tipped up, but I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe Madeline Portwood comes down with the ball here to make it 7-0 as Warner scores just like that. Now, Life, they get the ball back with 7:56, but they have another slow start here, I believe all incompletion, so they go 3 and out. Warner would go ahead and take over here and would actually get across the midfield on a nice pass, but a bad sack and a dropped deep pass here, also along with the false start, would eventually force them to just punt it back to Life. Now, Life has about a minute 23 here, and actually, let's just fast forward to the second quarter. It's 3rd and 1 here for Life after some incompletions. Top of the second. And they would go ahead and throw a quick curl to Jayla Wright. That would give them a first. Following a couple plays later, it's now 4th and inches. And they will throw the check down here. But it would be dropped. So that would kill this drive. Warner takes over past midfield with about 9:09 left here. 1st down. Crooks throws the check down to the speedy Adriana Williams, who goes for a couple, making it 2nd and 16. Then on 2nd, there's a drop. Then on 3rd here, it looks like Crooks gets sacked. 2 Life defenders are there here, and it's kind of a bad sack. She just doesn't make a quick enough decision, and so those 2 defenders get to her and pull a flag. So that's a quick 3 and out for Warner. Life, they take over with about 7 minutes left. 1st, that's an incompletion. 2nd down is a really short check down for barely a yard. And then on 3rd down, Graves tries to scramble left, but for no gain. Warner's defense playing really well, by the way. And so that's another 3 and out there. Warner takes over with about 5 minutes left, but continue to not play as well as they could. It's 1st and 2 here. They run a double pass. It looks like Crooks finds Vincenzini here for the 1st down, 1st and 18 technically, and I believe it's Catherine Hutchinson who is the 2nd quarterback there. And so on 1st and 18 it's complete, and actually 2nd down it's complete. And then on 3rd down here, Crooks gets a snap, throws the post to Vincenzini. She gets a nice gain of about 12, but now it's 4th and 6 here, and I believe they're past midfield. And then here's what happens. Crooks gets a snap, throws it, but it is knocked away by the defender. Just the wrong read by Shea Crooks here, as she had an open receiver out, a couple open receivers elsewhere. So now Life takes over, just under 2 minutes here. And so they get the ball. 1st down, it's a dropped interception by Warner. Just not a great decision. 2nd down, it's another drop pick, but it was a diving pick there, potential pick. And so it's an incomplete pass, so that brings them 3rd. Then on 3rd, Graves scrambles left and gets no gain again. So now it's 4th and 13. A timeout is called at 1:42, and Life goes 3 and out. Now Warner, they take over with a minute 30 left with a 1st and 6, but they are just not able to get too much going here. Just a lot of short throws that just takes up a lot of time, and so they are not able to score here. They were able to take a shot into the red zone. It looks like Andrea Rodriguez went in for Shay Crooks, who I want to say got hit, so she had to get taken out. It was a roughing the passer penalty they threw on her, and so that kind of set up Warner for a shot here, but not really. Andrea Rodriguez goes in, throws one up into the red zone, and it's intercepted by, I think, number 22. Doesn't go anywhere, though. And so let's go ahead and fast forward here. By the way, Warner with only the 7-0 lead going into the third. Life starts with it, but a personal foul would give them a first, but then they'd eventually stall out, just getting no yards here. Part of it is Warner playing good defense, but the other part is just a lot of mistakes on the offensive side, some bad decisions. And so Warner takes over with about 8:40 left, and here's how it goes. Crooks throws the hitch to Bunting, who spins out of a tackle, gets a key first down past midfield. Following that, they throw the curl to Portwood, giving her some yards, making it 2nd and 9. And then Crooks gets a snap and is sacked by, I think, number 29. So now it's 3rd and 16 here. And Crooks is forced to throw a quick one to Adriana Williams under pressure, by the way. And so that's why she had to check it down. And Williams bobs and weaves and makes a very nice gain here after the catch to go ahead and put them in the red zone on a nice play. And in fact, it's a 1st and 13 here on top of that. And so here we go, some life for Warner. 1st and 13, quick throw to Vincentini gives them a couple more yards. Now it's 2nd and 6, and then on 2nd down, Crooks ends his drive, throws the out to Vincentini to make it 13-0 at 3:52 left, and then throws another out to Bunting on the PAT to make it 14-0. Now, Life, their offensive struggles continue here. They would get the initial first down, but then would get hit with a false start, along with a couple bad drops here that would go ahead and end that drive. And so Warner would take over. And so let's fast forward to the fourth here. It's 1st and 1 near midfield. Still the same drive after that Life one ended late in the third here. And Crooks checks it down to Williams, who is having a great game, makes a couple people miss to make it 1st and 11 past midfield. And then Crooks throws the curl to Madeline Portwood, who evades a defender, and she's just gone here and runs it in untouched for a touchdown to put them up 20-0. This point, the game is basically over as Warner wins it 20-0 over Life. Player of the game, in my opinion, Anna Vincentini. Made a lot of catches. Just a really tough receiver out there, especially with Finley out. And so, absolutely gotta love that. Couple things to take away here. A very slow start by Warner. Second quarter, they had 3 drives with plenty of time here that just did not go anywhere at all, and a lot of it was kind of on them, you know, like obviously Life challenged them and whatnot at times, but a lot of it was definitely on them, and so that's a little concerning here. For Life, you know, they really hung in there. It was 7-0 for a really long time until like 4 minutes into the third here. Even then, it was 14-0, and just once again, I mean, just a lot of offensive struggles here in this game. Life also struggling, hurting themselves. On top of Warner, you know, really challenging them as well as they usually do here. But some mistakes by Life that, you know, is tough, right? But if you're them, you do got to feel good that you were only able to hold them to 20. But like I said, at the same time, some of that was self-inflicted, so I don't know how much you could really put on that, though. Either way, though, Warner, they get a good win here over Life 20-0. All right, now moving on to more Sun Conference action. We have another game in Georgia. Number 7, Weber, going this time to play number 15, Reinhardt, here at Reinhardt. Reinhardt, at this point, kind of struggling along here. Just suffered a 46-0 loss to Thomas. the game before, and so looking to bounce back against Weber. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into it. Weber coming off of a big win over Live. A really sloppy game, but still regardless a big win. So let's go ahead and hop into it. Weber starting with the ball here. They will get their first down on a check down to Bria Cam, who makes it 1st and 19. A couple plays later, let's go to 3rd and 4 here. Sam Wilson at quarterback gets a snap, throws a slant to Zoe Mello. She makes it 1st and 13, past midfield. Following that, Wilson takes a shot deep to Riley Bolser, and it's on the money, but unfortunately, she's not able to bring it in. 2nd down comes around, though, and Wilson finds Cam again to make it 3rd and 6, and then Wilson goes back to Bolser, this time on an out route, to go ahead and make it a 1st down in the red zone, a 1st and 18 in the red zone. On 1st down, Wilson gets some nice yards right, going for about 9. On 2nd, it's incomplete. On 3rd, Wilson finds Bolser on the slant, who tries to battle through the defenders and reaches over, but is just short. Also, a penalty for illegal contact is thrown here. So I believe it is, well, they make it 3rd and 2 again. And so then here's what happens. Wilson under pressure tries to pitch it forward. It's accurate, but it is dropped. So now it's 4th and 2 here. And then the stream just glitches, which is really annoying. I don't know why. And apparently Weber scored, so it's now 6-0. And also, by the way, by this point, over half the quarter has been taken up. Almost 5 minutes. Well, it's 5:23 here after that touchdown. So over half of the quarter taken on this one drive. But anyways, on the PAT, Wilson throws the fade to Riley Bolser, who goes up and gets it. Looks like she's about to catch this one, but when she falls, she isn't able to complete it. They, weirdly enough, call legal contact on the DB, which I think is a little questionable, and I know it was on the DB because the ref literally threw it right at her, and it was a really late flag. I think it's the wrong penalty. It doesn't matter as Weber gets another shot and Wilson throws it over the middle and it's incomplete anyway. So Weber has a 6-0 lead after almost 6 minutes here in the first quarter. Now Reinhardt, they take over and Alicia Wyatt is not in at quarterback. It looks like she's injured, as I believe I see her in street clothes on the sideline. So Jada Vick with her first career start here, and here's what happened. She goes ahead and scrambles right to get her first down, making it 1st and 19. Following that, she finds Shania Thomas on the drag route for a couple, a gain of about 7. On 2nd here, Vic evades left before throwing a dot over the middle to Blue McFarland to make it 3rd and 5. Then Vic throws a quick hitch to Thomas, who makes a player fall down and reverses fields, trying to get more yards here, but would probably have gotten more just cutting it up. But instead, only gets 1, and then Reinhardt kind of decides to punt here on 4th and 4. Now Weber, they take over with a 1st and 4, but this drive does not go well with them. Starts with an incompletion, 2nd down to drop, 3rd down there's a false start, and then 3rd and 9 here it's an overthrow, so they go 3 and out, and so Reinhardt takes over at the top of the 2nd, but they are not able to get too much going either. It's 1st and 7 past midfield, mind you, so they're 7 yards away from the red zone, but 1st down's an overthrow. 2nd down, Vic is sacked by Emma Balacco here, so she makes it 3rd and 19, and at this point this drive is basically cooked. But on 3rd and 19, Vic is forced to scramble right and gets a couple, gets about 7, bringing up 4th and 12. They obviously go for it here. Vic gets a snap, rolls left, clears the rusher before throwing it deep, but it is overthrown. And even if it was on the money, it looked like it was pretty well covered. So it is basically not a 3 and out, but a 4 and out. And so Weber takes over with a 1st and 7 here. 1st down to drop, 2nd down to out to Riley Bolser, who then pitches it to Sammy Gonzalez, who makes a nice play here, making it 1st and 16 past midfield. Following that, Wilson throws the post route to Riley Bolser, who gets a nice gain of about 14, so now it's 2nd and 2. And then Wilson just scrambles for that 1st down here to put them in the red zone. Now it's 1st and 13 in the red zone. After a 1st down play that goes for no gain and a penalty will be thrown on that, which would, I guess, make it just 1st and 13 again. So it's interesting there. Wilson gets a snap, throws the corner out to Cheyenne Duran, but she is not able to bring it in here. Following that on third, it's a check down to Gonzalez, who makes a 3rd and 9. And then on third down here, they go ahead and check it down again, but it is dropped. So that makes it 4th and 9. But on 4th down here, Wilson gets a snap and throws an absolute dime to the back of the end zone to Caitlin Sigmundy, who brings it down here with excellent body control, toe tapping this one in to put Weber up 12-0. Just an excellent play to kind of bail out this drive and put Weber up by 2 scores. Weber goes for 2 here, and Wilson goes up the seam to Bolser, but it is just overthrown. Still, though, Weber with a 12-0 lead. Now, Reinhardt, they take over here, but they are not able to get anything going as the struggles continue. They go for it on 4th and 6 here. Vic going deep down the right sideline. Maybe her receiver would have had a chance at it, but it just really missed time. She throws it really early, so that's incomplete. They go, once again, not 3 and out, but 4 and out. So Weber takes over here, and here's what happens. Wilson checks it down to Brooke Vaselli, I want to say. Excuse me if I'm saying that wrong. Makes it 2nd and 2. Then she goes back to her on the check down before she pitches it to Sammy Gonzalez, who gets a pretty good gain here, a good heads-up play to give them a 1st and 7 in the red zone. And then Wilson throws the corner to Bolser, but it is broken up. So that brings up 2nd down here, and Wilson rolls left, finds Cheyenne Duran on the drag to score and make it 18-0. Then she'd find Savannah Johnson to make it 19-0, as this game at this point is pretty much over here. Now, before the half ends, Vic does complete kind of a risky throw here, but still completes it up the seam to Janiyah Thomas, who makes a huge catch for a huge gain and gets loose, but is not able to score. That basically runs out the clock. Then in the third here, Reinhardt would get the ball first and would actually get into the red zone on the first drive, but it would result in them being just a couple yards short here. On 4th down, they'd go for it, and Weber would stop them. Weber would then respond back with another red zone drive, which would take up a lot of the clock, but would stall out after a couple red zone penalties, and after Anaya Showers pulled Sam Wilson short on a power option play for a turnover on downs. But by this point, a lot of the damage is done. They're still down by 3 scores going into the 4th. It's 19-0 here, but at this point, Reinhardt would score it kind of at the end here. It'd be a long pass from Jada Vic to Janiyah Thomas for a 40-plus yard score to put Reinhardt on the board. Vic would then go back to Thomas on the PAT to make it 19-7, but by this point, over half of the quarter is over here. Now, after that, they would get the ball back, and Reinhardt would get into the red zone again when Vic finds Deshae Brandon Monaslane to make it 1st and 12. But a couple plays later, a low pass on the slant on 4th and 7 would force a turnover on downs, and then this one would be over. A lot better clock management by Weber in this game here, as they go ahead and win. Not big, but a solid game here. 19-7 over Reinhardt. Player of the game was Sam Wilson. Played a much cleaner game here and did a good job controlling the tempo, controlling the clock, and not giving Reinhardt too many chances. If you're Reinhardt, you can't be too mad at this one. You were without your starting quarterback, trying out Jada Vic, who, looked inexperienced out there. There was some reads she was just missing, just taking too much time or scrambling too early. That type of rookie type stuff. And so she's probably going to be better as time goes on there. And then, there's not much you could do. They got into the red zone a couple of times, just could not score enough here. So there you go there. But like I said, a good win for Weber as they win 19-7. It feels like a bounce back win, even though they've won 2 in a row, but a good one for them regardless. All right, now moving on to April 5th here, the Friday slate of games, and actually, the games from the 2nd annual Flag Football Frenzy that was held in Campbellsville. I said this on the previous episode, and I'm just gonna say it again. I'm not going to pay for their streaming service on YouTube. I'm just not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We're going to literally see them here in a month live here. Well, not here, but like in Atlanta, I believe. So we're not gonna do all that. Plus, most of these games aren't even close, and so I'm gonna go over a lot of them real quick here, though. Starting with Campbellsville versus Milligan. Oops, a little bit of a spoiler there. But Campbellsville going into this one ranked at 10, Milligan ranked at 11. A lot of close matchups between these two, and here's how it would go down. Milligan would score first here on a 19-yard touchdown at the start of the second quarter. PAT would be no good, but they'd go up 6-0. Campbellsville would go ahead and respond back right after that with a goal line touchdown by Angeline Beecher, I want to say, who would go ahead and tie this thing up and also bring in the extra point to actually give them the lead 7-6. To end the second quarter, Presley Payne would get an interception that would shut down a drive there, and so that would bring up the second half here, where Emma Walker opened the second with a nice return to put the Tigers on the 1 yard line. And then Presley Payne would go ahead and close this thing out with the rushing touchdown there. And that would be the last touchdown as Campbellsville beats Milligan 14-6. Now, talking about Thomas versus Milligan, I couldn't find a box score or really a recap for this one. Not that it was a close game. I mean, I didn't expect it to. Thomas won 53-0. So this one was not a close one. Thomas just took care of business there. So there you go. So Thomas ranked at 3 in that one, and Milligan at 11. Then Thomas would play number 10 Campbellsville. And this one pretty much went the exact same way. Actually went the exact same way. Thomas won 53-0. The exact same score as the Milligan game, which is really interesting. But Thomas, they were on top of it. 2 touchdowns in the first, 3 in the second, 2 in the third, and 1 in the fourth, scoring 1 in each quarter and being extremely dominant like they do to go ahead and win this one pretty easily as Thomas takes care of business on the road. Like I said, unfortunately, no box score, and we're also just not going to be paying for just Campbellsville streams right now. So there you go there. Sorry it's not a longer recap, but we have plenty of other games that we also got to get to too. Alright, continuing on in this flag football frenzy, Warner would go ahead and play Campbellsville on Saturday here. So just skipping ahead here, they did play at Reinhardt literally the day before in Georgia and traveled over to Kentucky to play Milligan and Campbellsville. Let's talk about that Campbellsville game first here, because it was uncharacteristically close, which isn't, I guess, the biggest surprise seeing how they played these last 2 days here. But basically, there would not be a score until about halfway through the fourth quarter. And then Campbellsville would intercept a pass here. So that meant they obviously, had to put it back. And then they would intercept a pass made by Annalise Beecher, who would get them on the 17 in the red zone. And then it looks like Presley Payne was in at quarterback, and she would throw it to JC Harper to go ahead and tie the game at 6-6. So there you go. And then the game would go into overtime. Campbellsville would start with the ball here. And unfortunately, Presley Payne would try to throw it to Angeline Beecher, but Warner would intercept that, ending that. And then at that point, Warner just needed to score a touchdown to win it. And they would. So they would win this one 12-6 in overtime against Campbellsville, who, by the way, was ranked at 10, Warner at 2, so this is definitely one of the closer matchups between a top 3 team and a team outside of the top 5. So, an interesting one for sure. I mean, like I said, didn't get to watch this one, unfortunately, but a lot of things going on here between travel and whatnot. I don't know if Jessica Finley was there or whatnot, so definitely an interesting game for sure there. So there you go there about Warner surviving enough to go ahead and get the big time dub. Now, the other game they would play on this Saturday would be against Milligan here. And by the way, I'm recording this on April 7th, so this is like literally all I have. But I was able to find the result of this game. No box score, recap, or anything weirdly enough here. But Milligan would lose 51-0, which is a lot, considering Milligan was ranked only one spot below Campbellsville, so that's maybe more on us, to be honest with you. But there you go there. Warner finishing strong. Well, I guess they started with that Milligan game, and then they played Campbellsville later. So there you go there, but still undefeated in play, and I want to say in general, they're undefeated. So there you go there. Now, backtracking back to Friday here, that would be April 5th. Warner, before going on that road trip to, I guess on another road trip to Kentucky, they would go ahead and play Reinhardt in Georgia first here. Reinhardt currently ranked at 15, Warner obviously at 2, and this is how that game would go. So, to start, there would really actually be no scores until the second quarter here. Basically, in the first quarter, Warner would kind of struggle here a lot. There would be, I'm just going to say this, the refs really let them play a lot more physically than they probably usually do. On their first drive, it was a 4th down play here where it was a check down to Trinity Kieran, and there was a lot of contact here where it even kind of looked like she got thrown down, but they ruled it incomplete. There's definitely a case for some sort of penalty there, but hey, you know, it is what it is. And then for Reinhardt, they would not be able to get anything going here. Talisha Perry playing very good football in this one. A big time sack on 3rd down would go ahead and basically force them in a tough 4th down situation, which they still went for, and they would not get. So they would basically go 4 and out. Like I said, still all in the first quarter. Warner would take over, and there was an interesting, maybe PI penalty here on 3rd and 2 where Crooks tried to throw the corner out to Anna Vincenzini, who kind of gets tripped up, and maybe that's PI or some sort of, you know, defensive penalty there, but once more, they don't call it. And then on 4th down here, Crooks under pressure by Deshae Branham and company is just not able to complete a pass here. So that's a turnover on down. So that definitely brings us into the second quarter here where Reinhardt would get the ball, but would once more not able to get anything. The offensive struggle is just continuing here. Just a couple of scrambles by Jada Vick and then some throwaways as Talisha Perry continues to apply pressure would force that 3 and out. Now, third drive for Warner here. The struggles on offense continue, starting with a drop on first, a drop on second. On 3rd down, they would get an out route to Trinity Kieran, who gets some nice yards here, and a 1st down past midfield, a 1st and 12 to be exact there. So that would kind of save the drive. Then, Shea Crooks would check it down to her speedy freshman running back, Adriana Williams, who would make some things happen, getting them about 10 yards. Then on 2nd, though, there would be an overthrow. 3rd down, the ball would be knocked at the line of scrimmage by NAIA Showers. Crooks just taking too long to throw this one here. So that brings up 4th and 2 here. And they're on the edge of the red zone, and this is kind of a key play. Crooks drops back, gets a snap, and instead of throwing the out route, which was there, she goes deep to Vincenzini, who is in one-on-one, but it's overthrown, and so it's kind of just a bad decision. This is their 3rd drive without anything, and so Warner turns it over on downs, but Reinhardt continues to struggle as Talisha Perry makes it a very bad day. On 1st down, she gets a sack, so that automatically throws this whole drive out of whack. Then there'd be a drop on 2nd, and then on 3rd, Jada Vick just tries to do a little bit too much here, trying to throw it over the middle, and that would be that, as they would go 3 and out after 3 straight incompletions. Now Warner, on their 4th drive, would finally get something going here. And this drive would start right after the 2-minute warning. And so here's what happens. An out to Vincenzini would make it 2nd and 3. And then on 2nd down, another drop here. And then on 3rd down, another tip at the line of scrimmage as Crooks is just taking too long to pass it. NAIA Showers with another deflection. So that brings up 4th and 3 here. But Crooks, keeping it simple, gets it to Anna Vincenzini on the out, who makes it 1st and 16 in the red zone. After an incompletion on first, on second down, she throws the out route to Angeline Bunting to make it 3rd and 10. Penalty would be thrown on Reinhardt, though, finally, kind of, for roughing the passer. So it would actually be 1st and 7 with 1:29 left. But then there'd be a bad snap, which would make it 2nd and 17. I guess Crooks could have corralled it, but still a little bit too high of a snap. Then on second down here, she would find Vincenzini on the hitch to get some of that back to make it 3rd and 9. She would then throw the check down, but there's just a little bit too much contact on that check down play, which was incomplete. And so the refs finally throw a flag there. Like I said, kind of letting them play a little bit here, but they tighten up here in the second. And so now it's 1st down again here in the red zone. And 1st and 5's an overthrow. 2nd and 5, Crooks just misses a wide open slant route. I don't know about that one, just a little cold here. But on 3rd and 5, she makes up for it. Throws a slant route again. It's a little high here, but Anna Vincenzini goes up and gets it and makes it 6-0 finally. And they would go back to Vincenzini on the PAT to make it 7-0. Reinhardt will get the ball, but offensive struggles continue. They're not able to do anything with it. So there you go there. 4 drives for Warner, just really struggling. And on their 4th drive, they finally get into the red zone here. So there you go there. Now let's go to the 3rd quarter. Reinhardt starts with it, and it's just not their day. It's a direct snap to NAIA Showers. That stop for a loss by their rushers, Talisha Perry and their linebacker. Then on second, that would make it basically 2nd and 7 here, or 2nd and 8. And on second down, the snap would be dropped, so now it's 3rd and 12. And on 3rd, there's a sack again by Talisha Perry, who forces another 3 and out. So that is that. This Reinhardt offense, without their usual starting quarterback in Alicia Wyatt, is just not able to get anything going. And now Warner, they take over with the 1st and 6, just past midfield here, thanks to a pretty nice return. A check down to Adriana Williams will put them in the red zone just like that, though, to make it 1st and 18. Now on 1st down here, Crooks finds Kayla Ludwig on the drag, who then smartly pitches it to Williams, who gets a nice gain here, a gain of about 12. So that sets up 2nd down. But on 2nd, once more, it's an overthrow to an open Vincenzini. Then on 3rd down, it's kind of a low throw here, but the receiver had her hands on the ball, so I consider it a drop, but still could be better. And then on 4th down, Crooks tries to throw the stop and go to Vincenzini, but honestly, it is just really good coverage by Reinhardt, so that is incomplete, and it's another turnover on downs. And so, mind you, it's only 7-0 in the 3rd quarter. Reinhardt is getting some stops here, some good stops, but they are getting literally nothing from their offense. As they would go ahead and make a quarterback change. Kalia Wimbush now in at quarterback, who started a lot of last season. She goes ahead and gets in there, checks it down to Nicole Araz, excuse me if I'm saying that wrong, but she makes it 2nd and 8 on a 7-yard gain. She'll then throw a quick swing route to Jada Vick here, who is just well covered, so it's a loss there. So now it's 3rd and 9. Then they'd run an option play, but the pitch is so bad it goes out of bounds. So that's another 3 and out for Reinhardt. They've had a couple of 3 and outs in a row here. If I'm not mistaken, this is their this is like their 4th 3 and out in a row. 5th 3 and out in a row. Golly. And part of it is Warner playing really good defense. Talisha Perry just wrecking havoc here, but also just not being able to execute. So there you go. Now Warner, they'd get the ball back here. Well, 1st and 17 past midfield. Crooks would throw the drag to Vincenzini, who then pitches it, but it's a forward pass, they say. It's still though 2nd and 15. Then Crooks misses an out route throw. Then she throws a check down to Jade Mazziata. And then at this point, Warner decides to punt it, even though they are past midfield. So that's interesting. But Reinhardt, they take over with a 1st and 18 here. Really backed up into their own end zone because of a drop punt. And Wimbush stays in at quarterback. But this drive would go ahead and go into the fourth quarter. So let's fast forward a couple plays. 3rd and 6 here after some nice throws by Wimbush to get them in a manageable spot. Still haven't gotten a first down on this drive, though. Wimbush gets a snap, but she is sacked by Talisha Perry again. This is at least her 3rd or 4th sack. That would end another drive, in fact. So they would go 3 and out for like the 6th time. Warner would take over with the 1st and 9 past midfield. Showers would knock away another pass at the line. These are literally like at the line of scrimmage, and it's just taking too long for her to throw it. And so that brings up 2nd down. They do a little double pass play here. But at the end, there's just too much contact, and so that's a penalty thrown on Reinhardt. So now it's 1st and 8. First down, it's a bad throw. It's incomplete. 2nd down, it's an out to Trinity Kieran to make it 3rd and 6. They then throw the drag to Vincenzini to make it 4th and 1. Obviously, they're going for it here. And on 4th down, Crooks throws a good pass, finally, it feels like, under pressure to Trinity Kieran, who breaks loose and scores on a big-time touchdown. The defenders kind of tried to play this a little too aggressively. We're in position to pull a flag, so she walks in 20 yards for a touchdown at 6:48 to give Warner some distance and, make them feel a little bit more comfortable with the lead. So now it's 13-0. And then it looks like they go for 2 here, but I'm not sure if they just messed up or what, because they're at the 5-yard line going for 2. And so maybe I just didn't know this, but I guess the 2-point conversion line in the Sun Conference is a lot shorter than in the KCAC, where they have to go for 2 from the 10-yard line. So there you go there. I think that's a small difference, which we'll see how that goes down in Atlanta. But anyways, they're up 15-0. At this point, it's basically over. I mean, Reinhardt, they'd get the ball here, and they would go 3 and out. Talisha Perry stopping them on a direct snap to Janiyah Thomas on 1st down. That would pretty much kill that drive. And then you have a drop that would eventually do them in. And then Warner, they would score here again. They would get down into the red zone with a nice little drive here. With about 1:05 left, Crooks would find Vincenzini over the middle to make it 21-0, and then check it down to Williams to make it 22-0. And officially, that would be over. Warner beats Reinhardt 22-0. Player of the game is real obvious to me, Talisha Perry. I think she is definitely somebody who should be in that best rusher of the year conversation, probably instead of Lauren Clark here, as it looks like Perry is just getting a lot more snaps as of late, not just this game, but as of late. So really loving that for her. She's playing great. Anna Vincenzini had a great game as well. She's probably a best receiver, and low-key maybe a best or MVP candidate potentially for Warner, which is really hard to do as a receiver, so we'll just see about that. But she's really emerged here as that wideout one. She always kind of has been, but with Jessica Finley out this game and Angeline Bunting just not getting a lot of looks here as well, Vincenzini really turned up, so got to give her a lot of credit. But let's talk about Reinhardt first here. Defensively, I think they really challenged Warner, gave them some good looks. This is a Warner team that is pretty deep at the skill positions between Kayla Ludwig, Bunting, Vincenzini. Adriana Williams is really tough after the catch. She's arguably one of the best utility players in the entire country with just how dangerous she is when she gets the ball in her hands. And the crazy part is that she's only a freshman, I believe, or an underclassman. If you're Warner, you obviously got to feel good about your skill group. And, Reinhardt did a good job trying to challenge them and whatnot. This was only it was a 7-point game going into, 7 minutes in the fourth quarter, and at the 7 or 6:48 mark, Warner would go ahead and get some distance between them and Reinhardt, scoring a touchdown to make it a 2-score game. And so for the majority of this game, this was either a 0-0 or a 7-0 game. So if you're Reinhardt, I think you got to feel good about that. The big issue here is definitely the offense here. Without Alicia Wyatt, you're losing a lot of continuity, and you're already a young team, which makes it frustrating. Jada Vick They obviously had to move on from her, finding that they just needed a spark, and Keiser Wimbush gave them a little bit of something, but it just really wasn't enough. And Wimbush hasn't gotten a lot of playing time this season as well, so she was kind of coming into this one cold, and so the offense struggled here. They could definitely be better, but, it's just youth, and so I don't really blame them there. Now, for Warner, I like pretty much everything but quarterback. I'm just going to be honest. Shay Crooks had a really tough going here. Her throwing motion is also a little bit slow. It's probably the slowest, I'm not going to lie, out of all the starting quarterbacks in the entire country here. It just takes a while. Like, it's a little bit of a wind-up, and if you're not being decisive, it's really a detriment because you literally can't get 0 yards on more than 1 or 2 plays on a drive, or the drive's gonna die, right? Now, and then that's against good competition, right? You can't do that against good comp. And Reinhardt is, they're solid, young, but solid for sure. And so they definitely challenged Crooks here, who was just struggling getting into her playmakers. But when she does get into her playmakers, her playmakers do a lot for her. And so, we're way past midseason. I want to say the criticism is pretty fair here. It could be possible that she just had a rough day, but I felt the same after the Life game, and so it kind of just all came together. And also knowing what would happen in Kentucky, later in the weekend. Only scoring 12 against a Campbellsville team who's not even, I don't think they're top 10. They're at 10, barely, but that 10 spot is it fluctuates a lot. I don't know. That's not the greatest vote of confidence. And so if you're other teams, you definitely look at Warner and you see a little bit of a blueprint on how to beat him. I'm not going to lie. You definitely see a little bit of a blueprint. We'll see if, maybe that changes down the line. Crooks just, gets better, but she's also basically a second-year starter at this point. We'll say 1.5 year starter here. So there is some leeway. At this point, they've stuck with her throughout the entire season. They've committed to her. I think they probably got to continue to commit to her unless she just really gives you a reason otherwise. So we'll see what happens with Warner here. But that offense really struggled, and most of it was, self-inflicted. I felt like it was just the quarterback not getting the ball out, bad passes, bad timing, some bad decisions here and there. And, in this quick game that is women's flag football, you have to be on top of it. And if you're not, then, it doesn't matter how many weapons you have. But for now, Warner stays undefeated on the weekend and in general as they beat Reinhardt 22-0.
What's good, everyone? Gino here with the Playmakers Corner podcast, and it is time to recap some rivalry weekend football between 2 top 4 ranked teams in the country. It was the number 4 PMC ranked St. Thomas Bobcats hosting the number 1 PMC ranked Keiser Seahawks in a rivalry Sun Conference matchup. Keiser is still unbeaten in conference play with the top offense in the country, while St. Thomas has only given up more than 12 points once all season. This is a matchup between the top offense and one of the top defenses, so let's not waste any more time and jump right into this recap. Starting off here in the first quarter, Keiser starts off with the ball here, 1st and 6. First play of the game is a big one as the QB for Keiser, Jasmine Roden, nails Chloe Griffin in stride down the sideline for a huge gain near midfield. 1st and 3 now as Roden hits Adriana Rodriguez on the short crosser, and that is just barely good for the first down. 1st and 20 now across midfield as Roden fakes right and rolls left and nails Ashley Clam along the sideline as Clam jukes her way into the red zone for another Keiser first down. 1st and 18 now, the pass is overthrown over the middle, and then Roden keeps it on the next play and pitches it to Brenna Ramirez for a nice gain to make it 3rd and 6. On 3rd down, Roden finds Brianna Hernandez Silva on a short crosser, and she takes that one in for the Keiser touchdown. Roden then hit Chloe Griffin in the back of the end zone on the PAT to cap off a great first drive of the game, and that makes it 7-0 here with 7:50 left in the first quarter. St. Thomas ball now, 1st and 6 as they prepare to answer here. First play of the drive is a first down pass to Tyler Bryant on a curl route. 1st and 15 now for the Bobcats as the first down pass from the QB Holly Neher is overthrown, and then a beautiful pass over the middle is caught by Tyler Bryant for a huge gain across midfield to give the Bobcats a first down. 1st and 10 now for St. Thomas as a quick hitter to Tyler Bryant yet again gets them a few yards, and then Neher hits Jada Graham on a quick out that gets them the first down into the red zone. On 1st and 18, Neher keeps it and gets a nice gain to make it 2nd and 9. Then on 2nd down, Emma Wagenman gets a big-time sack to make it 3rd and 17. 3rd down here now as Neher is under heavy pressure and barely avoids the sack on a dangerous deep pass to the end zone that falls incomplete. 4th and 17 now for the Bobcats. Neher takes the snap, and her pass to the end zone is overthrown, and that will be a turnover on downs. 1st and 2 here for Keiser to start their drive. The first down pass is complete to Adriana Rodriguez near the sideline as Jasmine Roden was flushed out right there, but still made the play for a Keiser first down. 1st and 20 here for the Seahawks as she hits Hernandez Silva on a quick hitter for a solid gain, and then a dangerous pass over the middle is nearly picked off by Enquincia Jones to make it 3rd and 10. The 3rd down pass is thrown to a receiver with her back turned as Rayana Baker swats down the pass to make it 4th and 10. Keiser calls timeout here following the incompletion with 9 seconds left in the first quarter. Following the timeout, Keiser interestingly decides to set up to go for it here on 4th and 10, but a false start on Keiser ruined that, and they will actually bring out the punt unit here on 4th and 15. 1st and 20 now for St. Thomas following a booming punt, and that takes us to the end of the first quarter. Keiser leads here 7-0 early on in this one. Heading into the second quarter now, it is 1st and 20 for the Bobcats. Holly Neher steps up and keeps it for a gain of 9, and then an incompletion on 2nd down makes it 3rd and 11. On 3rd down, Neher sends Jada Graham in motion and hits her in stride on a short crosser to make it 4th and 5. The Bobcats will go for it here as Neher takes the snap and barely avoids a sack, and her throw on the run over the middle is picked off by Ashley Clam to give Keiser the ball in St. Thomas territory. 1st and 19 here for the Seahawks following that big-time interception from Clam. The first down pitch from Roden is incomplete, and then on 2nd down, Linnea Leon bats down a pass out of Jasmine Roden's hand for a big-time clutch play as Roden was definitely leaning back to go deep there. 3rd and 19 now as Roden lines up at tailback, and Haley Young takes the snap and lobs a beauty over the middle to Ashley Clam for a big gain near the first down. On 4th and 1 here, Roden keeps it, and some controversy here as the refs give her the first down, even though it looked like Linnea Leon got the diving flagpole there. It is 1st and 19 in the red zone for Keiser nonetheless, as Roden pump fakes and ducks a jumping rusher and hits Kennedy Foster for a nice gain to make it 2nd and 9. On 2nd down, Roden hits Brenna Ramirez in stride on a slant, and Ramirez takes it in for the Keiser touchdown. And that puts Keiser up 2 scores here with 5:38 left in the half. The PAT was overthrown, so it is a 13-0 lead late in the first half for the Keiser Seahawks. 1st and 6 here for St. Thomas as they really need a score here to stay in the game. The first down pass is a slant to Tyler Bryant for a few yards, and then on 2nd down, the pass is a nice one to Jada Graham to give the Bobcats a first down. First and 9 here for St. Thomas as NAIA hits Graham on a quick out near the first down, and then another quick out to Graham gets them the first down across midfield. The pass on 1st and 12 fell incomplete, and then on 2nd down, NAIA takes advantage of some great blocking and hits Kaylee Miller over the middle for a nice gain and a first down into the red zone with 2:05 left here in the first half. Emma Wagenman gets some nice pressure on first down and forces NAIA to throw across her body on a check down pass, but it is still caught by Maya Salas for a few yards to make it 2nd and 14. The bootleg pass on 2nd down is overthrown as St. Thomas calls timeout here following that incompletion with 1:18 left in the half. On 3rd and 14 following the timeout, Wagenman nearly gets the sack, but she still forces a bad pass and incompletion as St. Thomas will try and go for it here on 4th and 14 in the red zone. St. Thomas calls a timeout here with 1:14 left as they have a big opportunity to score here and get the ball to start the second half as well. Following the timeout on 4th down, Holly NAIA takes the snap and lobs one up to the end zone, and it is a perfect pass to Jada Graham, open in the back of the end zone for a St. Thomas touchdown. Awesome play call and execution there from the Bobcats as they now trail 13-6 with 1:07 left in the half. Keiser gets the ball back now, 1st and 6 with around a minute to go. A 2 QB set here from the Seahawks as Roden hits Kennedy Foster along the sideline for a first down. On 1st and 16, it is the exact same play as Roden hits Foster along the sideline to make it 2nd and 12 with 59 seconds remaining. Another 2 QB set here as Roden gets the pass, surveys, and just takes it herself for a nice gain to give the Seahawks a big-time first down across midfield as the clock keeps ticking. Linnea Leon gets a nice pressure here on Young to force an overthrow over the middle to make it 2nd and 20 with 32 seconds left. A 2 QB set on 2nd down as Roden's pass is incomplete as Keiser calls timeout here with 26 seconds left in the half. 3rd and 20 following the timeout as the pass from Roden is way overthrown to make it 4th down and 20 as the punt unit comes out for Keiser with 21 seconds left. The punt pins St. Thomas at the 12-yard line, and that takes us to the end of the first half. Keiser leads St. Thomas 13-6 heading into halftime. Third quarter now, it is St. Thomas ball, 1st and 6 to start the half. The pass on first down is a quick out from Holly NAIA for a first down. Then on 1st and 16, NAIA takes advantage of a big-time block from Salas and takes it herself for a big gain. On 2nd and 5, NAIA throws off her back foot under heavy pressure, and it is a perfect lob to Leah Cruz for a first down across midfield. 1st and 14 here for the Bobcats as Emma Wageman gets her 2nd sack of the game for a loss of 4 to make it 2nd and 16. The 2nd down pass goes to the center, Maya Salas, for a few yards, and then on 3rd and 15, NAIA's pass along the sideline is picked off and taken across midfield to give Keiser the ball back in St. Thomas territory. 1st and 15 now for Keiser following that interception. Roden's pass on first down is a good one to Brenna Ramirez for a nice gain near the first down. And then on 2nd and 1, it is a quick hitter to Brianna Hernandez Silva, and that gets Keiser a first down into the red zone. 1st and 20 here for Keiser as Jasmine Roden hits Hernandez Silva again, and she gets some nice yards after the catch here to put the Seahawks near the end zone. On 2nd and 5, a dangerous pitch from Roden falls incomplete, and then on 3rd down, it is a pass to a crossing Brenna Ramirez as she's down close to the end zone. 4th and 1 here for the Seahawks as Roden takes the snap and hits Brianna Hernandez Silva in the end zone for a Keiser Seahawks touchdown. Keiser leads now 19-6 after taking advantage of that interception with 4:54 left here in the third quarter. St. Thomas has the ball back now, 1st and 6. Holly Nieher tries to scramble on first down, but a diving flagpole from Reagan Pellegrino makes it 2nd and 3. On second down, a quick out to Jada Graham gets the Bobcats a first down. And then on 1st and 15, it is a quick hitter to Tyler Bryant for 6 yards. And then a quick out to Jada Graham, and that gets the Bobcats near midfield. 3rd and 1 here as Nieher takes the snap and finds Maya Salas on a check down, and that gets the Bobcats a first down across midfield. On 1st and 19, a short crosser to Jada Graham is shut down after a couple yards, and then it's an out to Graham again for a solid gain, plus a hold on the Keiser defense, makes it 2nd and 1 for the Bobcats with 30 seconds left in the quarter. A curl route to Tyler Bryant on the next play gives St. Thomas the first down in the red zone, and that takes us to the end of the third quarter here. Keiser still leads St. Thomas 19-6 as we head into the final quarter of the game. 1st and 11 for St. Thomas in the red zone to start the fourth quarter. Tight coverage from Sydney Woodman on the bootleg forces an incompletion, and then on second down, Holly Nieher rolls right and finds a crossing Jada Graham, who takes it in for her second receiving touchdown of the game. The PAT is good as St. Thomas now trails 19-13 with 11-12 left in the game. We most definitely have a game here, folks. 1st and 6 here for Keiser as they try and add to their lead. Roden on first down is flushed out right and nails Jonice Murphy with a throw across her body for a nice gain and first down. 1st and 11 here for Keiser as Roden's pass is overthrown, and then on second down it is a quick hitter to Brianna Hernandez Silva for a nice gain near midfield. On 3rd and 3, Linnea Leon gets to Roden for a crazy clutch sack for a big-time loss of 6 yards. Keiser calls timeout following the sack with 8:30 left in the game as both teams will deliberate on how to approach this fourth down play. 4th and 9 following the timeout as Keiser sets up to go for it here. Roden takes the snap, steps into her throw, and absolutely nails Ashley Clam on the do-or-die first down across midfield. 1st and 15 here for the Seahawks as Roden scrambles for a gain of 5, and then a pitch over the middle to Brenna Ramirez gets them another 5 yards. On 3rd and 5, Roden finds a wide open Ashley Clam for a first down into the red zone with just over 6 minutes left in the game here. 1st and 13 here for the Seahawks as Roden finds Brenna Ramirez on a slant for a few yards, and then on second down, it is a pass from Roden off her back foot as she was under heavy pressure from Linnea Leon, and the ball is caught by Adriana Rodriguez near the end zone. Amazing improvising there from Roden to make that play and avoid the sack there. 3rd and 5 here for Keiser as Roden has a clean pocket and steps into her throw as her bullet pass to Ashley Clam is caught in the back of the end zone for Jasmine Roden's 4th touchdown of the game. Keiser leads now 25-13 with 4:09 left in the game after that back-breaking touchdown. And that would be your final score in this one as Keiser stays unbeaten in conference play as they take down the St. Thomas Bobcats 25-13 in a tightly contested matchup between two top 4 teams in the country. That was yet another signature win for Keiser over a rivalry opponent. Your PMC playmaker of the game has to go to Jasmine Roden, who finished with 4 touchdowns passing and had some just ridiculous throws throughout the game. I think out of all the QBs I've seen play this year, I think it is Roden who is the most complete with her terrific throwing ability as well as her skills evading pressure and always seeming to be able to make plays happen. She really didn't seem phased at any point despite being under heavy pressure from the St. Thomas defense for a lot of the game. And yeah, like I said, she was just really impressive to see play. Ashley Clam was also a big-time contributor with the dagger touchdown in the fourth quarter, as well as an interception in the first half. You also had Brianna Hernandez Silva with 2 receiving touchdowns and several receptions throughout. And of course, you had Brenna Ramirez with a receiving touchdown and some big plays throughout the game. Keiser is a flat-out stacked team, and they made it clear in this game why they are the number 1 ranked team in the country. Now for St. Thomas, that wasn't the cleanest game on the offensive side of the ball. The multiple interceptions definitely played a factor in this game and really kept them in the backseat for the entirety of the matchup. Jada Graham straight up balled out in this game though, with both Bobcat touchdowns going to her. And then you had Tyler Bryant with a big game receiving as well. Linnea Leon had a really good game as a rusher, as well as some big-time plays throughout the game too. I still like this St. Thomas team a lot, but this game does worry me a bit if they are a tier below Keiser. They are still a big-time threat in my eyes, and definitely a top 5 team in the country still, but you can't help but feel Keiser is a step or two above them after watching that game. With that all being said, it is now time to wrap up this recap. This is Gino with the Playmakers Corner podcast, and thank you all for listening, and I will catch y'all in the next recap where I talk about what happened in a KCAC matchup. Peace out. What is going on, y'all? Gino here with the Playmakers Corner podcast, and it is time for a recap of some KCAC action between the hosting number 12 PMC ranked Southwestern Mound Builders and the number 8 PMC ranked Midland Warriors. Southwestern is looking to bounce back from a bad loss to Cottey on Wednesday, while Midland has won 7 out of their last 8 and are looking to establish themselves as a top 3 team in the KCAC. This was quite the crazy game as both teams were battling some horrific wind throughout the matchup, so let's go ahead and jump right into this recap. Starting off here in the first quarter, it is Southwestern ball to start the game. 1st and 6 here. The stream started with Southwestern ball, 2nd and 19 actually, but Miranda Dooley finds Tegan Smith on a quick hitter for a few yards, and then a quick pass to Viviana Solis is shut down at the line of scrimmage by Sydney Red. Southwestern will set up the punt here on 4th and long. It is Midland ball, 1st and 7 near midfield following the punt. The power option on 1st down is shut down by Sammy Labosco for a gain of 3. The QB Angel Yawani Kayo then throws a pass over the middle directly into Mallory Lund's hands, but she is unable to come down with the interception. 3rd and 4 here for Midland as Kayo's quick pass is overthrown to make it 4th down. Midland decides to go for it here on 4th down as Yawani Kayo's pass over the middle to Mayana Sigers gets Midland the 1st down across midfield. 1st and 18 now for Midland as Yawani Kayo finds Jocelyn Lopez on a quick hitter for a gain of 5, and then a quick out to Emily Farron is tightly defended by Viviana Solis to make it 3rd and 5 for Midland. On 3rd down, Southwestern rushes 2, but Yawani Kayo is able to get rid of it quickly and find Alea Livingston over the middle for a nice gain and 1st down into the red zone. 1st and 13 here as a power option pitch to Emily Farron goes for a nice gain near the end zone. And then on 2nd and 5, Tegan Smith gets a big-time sack for a loss of 7. And then on 3rd and 12 here, Mallory Lund swats down a pass in the end zone to make it 4th and 12. On 4th down in the red zone, Yawani Kayo takes the snap and has a receiver open in the end zone, but the pass is overthrown for a turnover on downs. Southwestern ball now, 1st and 7 to start the drive. Miranda Dooley takes a QB keeper for a few yards, and then a quick pass to Tegan Smith makes it 3rd and 1. On 3rd down, Dooley sneaks it up the middle to give the Mound Builders a 1st down. 1st and 19 here as Dooley pitches the power option back to Viviana Solis for a gain of 4, and then a quick hitter is dropped on the next play to make it 3rd and 16, And that play takes us to the end of the first quarter, still 0-0 in this one. 3rd and 16 here for Southwestern to start the second quarter. Miranda Dooley's pass to Viviana Solis down the sideline is overthrown, so Southwestern will set up to punt here. It's 1st and 6 for Midland following a booming punt with the wind just carrying that one, and it will go for a touchback. The first down pass is dropped, and then the snap goes to Michaela Nunez, and she pitches it back to Alea Livingston, who cuts back and takes it for a big gain and first down. On 1st and 10, Angel Ioane Cayo is under heavy pressure and lobs a deep one up, and that is picked off by Viviana Solis to give the ball back to Southwestern. It is 1st and 5 near midfield for the Mound Builders following the interception. A false start makes it 1st and 10, and then on first down, Dooley tries to sneak it up the middle, but she ends up getting sacked by Lila Elizalde for a loss of 3 yards. Sorry if I mispronounced that there. On 2nd and 13, Dooley scrambled for a few yards and gets her flag pulled by Michaela Nunez for a gain of about 4. 3rd and 9 now as a bubble screen to Tegan Smith is shut down by Emily Farron at the line of scrimmage as Southwestern sets up to punt. It is 1st and 15 for Midland near their own end zone following another booming punt. A handoff to Jocelyn Lopez is stopped for no gain, but a hold on the flagpole makes it 1st and 10 for Midland. A power option pitch to Emily Farron goes for 2 yards, and then on 2nd down, a pass over the middle is overthrown and incomplete. The pass to Farron gets Midland a yard short of the first down as they will set up to punt here. It is 1st and 5 near midfield for Southwestern after the wind killed Midland's punt. Dooley keeps the power option and takes to cross midfield for a Mound Builders first down right away. On 1st and 17, Southwestern runs the same play as Dooley keeps the option for a nice gain of 7 yards. 2nd and 10 here as Dooley's screen pass to Aaliyah Hansen is dropped, and Southwestern will call timeout here to decide what to do on 3rd and 10. Following the timeout, Dooley's deep pass is underthrown, but the Mound Builders will go for it here on 4th and 10. On 4th down, Dooley's pass is way overthrown, but pass interference on Midland gives the Mound Builders an automatic first down. 1st and 4 here as Michaela Nunez shuts down a run from Tegan Smith for a loss of 2, and then Dooley's screen pass on the next play is dropped to make it 3rd and 6. On 3rd down, Olivia Dominguez-Millsop shuts down a check down pass for a gain of only 1. 4th and 5 now as Southwestern calls timeout here. On 4th down following the timeout, Dooley is under pressure and decides to run it herself, and she takes off and scorches the defense for a Southwestern touchdown. Dooley then hit Davina Little on the extra point, and that gives the Southwestern Mound Builders a 7-0 lead towards the end of the first half. And that will be the score heading into halftime as the Southwestern Mound Builders have a 7-0 lead over the top 10 ranked Midland Warriors at the end of the half. It is Midland ball 1st and 6 to start the second half. Angel Ioane Cayo's pass on first down is incomplete, and then a pass complete to an open Alea Livingston gives Midland a first down. The first down pass is overthrown, and then on 2nd down, Ioane Cayo hits Alyssa Butler in stride on the post route for a big gain across midfield. 1st and 11 now for Midland. Ioane Cayo feels the pressure and hits Mayana Seigers for a gain of 4. On 2nd down, Ioane Cayo finds an open Alea Livingston on a post route for a big gain into the red zone. 1st and 3 now near the end zone for Midland as they pitch it back to Alea Livingston, and Livingston reaches across the goal line for a Midland touchdown. The extra point was picked off by Viviana Solis, so the score is now 7-6. Southwestern leads with 8:24 left here in the third quarter. 1st and 6 for Southwestern to start the drive. The option play is shut down by Emily Farron for a loss of 1, and then a Dooley keeper is shut down by Sydney Red for a gain of only 1. On third down, Dooley tries to go deep to Viviana Solis, but the ball is batted down and nearly picked by Aliciana Patterson to make it 4th and 5. Southwestern will set up to punt here following that play. Aliciana Patterson takes the punt across midfield to make it 1st and 14 to start the drive for the Warriors. And the first play of the drive is a pass over the middle that is picked off by the safety Mallory Lund. It is now Mound Builders' ball, 1st and 13, following that big-time interception from Lund. Southwestern calls timeout here with 5:04 left in the third quarter. Following the timeout, Dooley pitches a power option back to Solis that is shut down by Michaela Nunez for a loss of 1. On second down, a pass over the middle to Solis is overthrown, and then on third down, Dooley's pass is nearly picked off by Alea Livingston to force a 3 and out. It is now 1st and 3 for Midland near midfield following the punt. The wind continues to be a big factor in this game, especially special teams. A personal foul penalty on Midland pushes them back 5. And then 1st and 13 now, Alyssa Butler has her defender beat as Ioane Kayo lobs it up to her, but the wind carries it away for an incomplete pass. 2nd and 13 now, as Ioane Kayo drops back and throws a dangerous ball that is picked off by Sammy Labasco to give Southwestern the ball back. 2:45 left in the quarter. It is now 1st and 10 for Southwestern in Midland territory following that interception. Southwestern runs that option play that's been working pretty well for them all game as Dooley finds Davina Little on a short pass to put the Mound Builders in the red zone. The first down option is an absolute mess as Sydney Red shuts down that play for a loss of 1 yard. 2nd and 19 here as Dooley's option pitch is overthrown for a loss of 5 more yards. 3rd and 25 for the Mound Builders as Sydney Red gets heavy pressure and forces another weak Dooley pitch that falls to the turf. And that play takes us to the end of the third quarter. Southwestern leads Midland 7-6. In the fourth quarter now, it is 4th and 26 for the Mound Builders here to start off the final quarter of the game. A quick hitter to Solis in motion goes for about 5 yards, but that is not enough as that will be a turnover on downs. 1st and 20 for Midland to start their drive here, only down 1 point. The first down pass is dropped with nice coverage from Davina Little, and then on second down, Ioane Kayo keeps the option for a solid gain. 3rd and 11 now for Midland as Michaela Nunez takes the quick hitter across midfield for a big gain and first down. 1st and 14 here for the Warriors as Miranda Dooley comes out of nowhere as she was lined up as a rusher and gets the sack to make it 2nd and 20. Ioane Kayo barely avoids another sack from Dooley on the next snap. She rolls to her left and makes a beautiful throw to Olivia Dominguez-Millsop along the sideline for a big gain near the first down. 3rd and 1 here as Dooley almost gets another sack, but the pass is incomplete anyway, so it will be 4th and 1 for Midland. On 4th down, Ioane Kayo is under heavy pressure once again as she lobs up a short pass over the middle that sails the receiver, and it will be a turnover on downs. 1st and 14 here for Southwestern following the turnover on downs. Sydney Red absolutely shuts down a short pass over the middle on 1st down, and then on 2nd down, Dooley's pass is batted down as it leaves her hands by Olivia Dominguez-Millsop and nearly picked off by Michaela Nunez there, but it will be 3rd and 14 for Southwestern. Miranda Dooley is down following that play, but she ends up getting back up here with 6:14 left in the game. Dooley takes a keeper following the injury timeout, but she is stopped by Michaela Nunez after a few yards as Southwestern sets up to punt. The wind carries the punt all the way back into the end zone for a touchback, so it will be 1st and 6 for Midland in their own territory. Miranda Dooley continues to be a problem as a rusher as she gets yet another sack for a loss of 5, and then one of Midland players was arguing with the ref trying to get a holding penalty there, but the ref threw a flag there against Midland for the arguing with the ref, so that will push them back even further. 2nd and 16 now for Midland following the sack and flag, and the pass is incomplete, and then the 3rd down pass over the middle is incomplete as Midland will set up to punt here. The wind murdered the punt as Southwestern gets great field position near the red zone to start their drive. 1st and 3 here as Dooley hands it off to Carla Lopes, but she gets stopped by Alea Livingston for a loss of 2. The option goes to Solis for a gain of 3, and then on 3rd and 2, Dooley takes a keeper outside right, but her flag is pulled by Michaela Nunez for a gain of only 1. 4th and 2 here as Midland calls timeout with 1:25 left in the game. Following the timeout, Dooley scrambles left and avoids the flagpole for a 1st down into the red zone, but a personal foul flag on the Mound Builders pushes them back big time, so it will be 4th and 12 instead of the back-breaking 1st down. Southwestern will be forced to punt here. It is 1st and 6 for Midland following the touchback with 1:11 left in the game, down only 1 point, and this will be their last chance to try and win this one. Ioane Caio has a receiver deep, but nice coverage, and a drop pass forces that incompletion. Miranda Dooley gets her 3rd sack of the quarter on the next play to make it 3rd and 13. She is an absolute problem as a rusher, and I really hope Southwestern is able to use her there more in the future. 3rd and 13 here following the sack as Ioane Caio takes the snap and keeps it for a solid gain, but an illegal block pushes Midland back even further. 3rd and 17 now for Midland with 21 seconds left as Ioane Caio takes the snap, surveys, lets one go down the sideline, and the ball is picked off by Miranda Dooley, and she takes that one all the way for a game-ending pick 6. The Mound Builders lead now 13-6 with 10 seconds left, and that will be our final score in this one as Miranda Dooley completely takes over the 4th quarter on defense to give Southwestern the win over a top 10 ranked conference opponent. Southwestern finds a way to win it with some awesome defense throughout, especially in the second half. Your PMC playmaker of the game goes to none other than Miranda Dooley, who had a rushing touchdown in the first half, and then a monster 4th quarter on defense with 3 sacks, multiple pressures, and of course the game-sealing pick 6 at the end there, all in the 4th quarter. Like I said in the recap, I'm really hoping Southwestern uses her more as a rusher because she is flat out deadly and borderline unstoppable when she lines up there. Mallory Lund also had a great game in the secondary for the Mound Builders and was a big reason why they shut down the Midland offense. Southwestern adjusted well on offense by being able to use a couple different variations of the power option and a couple other option plays, and that definitely seemed to make the difference in this game. Great win for the Mound Builders. As for the Midland Warriors, they seemed to really fall victim to the wind in this one. The wind basically shut down the passing game for both teams, and Midland just doesn't really have the personnel to make up for that. That's not to say Angel Ioane Caio isn't a good QB, because she definitely is, but I just don't think that the option plays and QB keepers that were necessary to win this game fit Angel's play style. This definitely could have been a different game if they were able to pass it like they wanted to, but that just sadly wasn't the case. I still think that Aliciana Patterson played a really great game on defense, as well as Michaela Nunez for sure. You also had Emily Farron, Sydney Red, and Olivia Dominguez-Millsop, who made some big plays throughout the game on defense as well. Midland is a very good defensive team, and I definitely look forward to watching them play in a game with more favorable weather conditions. With that outro all wrapped up, it is time for me to check out here. This is Gino with the Playmakers Corner podcast, and I want to thank you all for listening, and I will see you all in Week 9. Peace out.
All right, thank you, Gino, for those 2 recaps here. I got just one last recap here, and it is number 6 Ottawa versus number 16 University of St. Mary. This game really wasn't close at all. At halftime, it was 40-0 here. Ottawa would end up winning 65-0 over the University of St. Mary's. So I have just a couple stats to go over. Madison Carrera, 14 of 14, perfect game here. 240 yards, 6 touchdowns. Did take 2 sacks though. Also had just about 23 rushing yards as well. Jaden Bayron got in there as well, 9 of 13 for 123 yards and 2 passing touchdowns. Sorry, she had 23 rushing yards and a touchdown. Carrera had 21 yards there. As far as receiving goes, Alyssa Linkus led the team, 6 receptions, 95 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jaslyn Camacho, 3 for 73 and a touchdown. Cynthia Holmes, 2 receptions for 50 yards there. Bailey Hodgins-Marr, Martine Claros, and Mandolin Scalisi, as well as Randria Gamble, each scored a receiving touchdown in this one. But most noticeably, Hannah Serquina had 8 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, 6 sacks in this one. Abby Brown with 2 interceptions and a pass breakup, as well as 5 tackles. DJ Paris with 3. And then you also have Cynthia Holmes with an interception and Talia McGinnis with an interception as well. For the Spires, not the greatest stats here. Cheyenne Brooks, 16 of 38, 4 interceptions, 109 passing yards. Talia Wright was her lead receiver with 5 receptions for 42 yards. Sade Irvin, 2 receptions for 35. Braylee Chris led them with 5 total flag pulls. Latoya Mitchell had 2 sacks. Michaela Swangby had a sack in this one, but obviously not too much success against the current reigning national champs here, as Ottawa takes care of business 65-0. Alright, now let's go ahead and get to your Week 8 Playmaker of the Week, presented to you by Code Red Coaching. Go ahead and check out Code Red Coaching at coderedcoaching.com or call 720-979-1914. Like I said, check them out at coderedcoaching.com or at Code Red Coaching on their social media, or call them at 720-979-1914. But we had a number of people who were considered candidates for this one. I'll just list them off pretty quickly here. Talisha Perry, a rusher out of Warner, had some great games this week. Sam Wilson out of Weber had some great games, redeeming games this week after having a rough start there, but still finishing strong there, you know. Jasmine Roden in her performance against St. Thomas, definitely Playmaker of the Week type of material over there. And then finally, Miranda Dooley of Southwestern doing it all in that upset win over Midland. But there can only be one Playmaker of the Week, and this week, finally, it's going to go to Keiser's quarterback, Jasmine Roden, who had 4 touchdowns in this big-time game against St. Thomas and no interceptions, playing a very clean game, having a signature game here that'll not only help her win this week's Playmaker of the Week, brought to you by Code Red Coaching, but also help with her MVP chances down the line. So there you go there. That is your Week 8 Playmaker of the Week. Alright, now let's go ahead and talk about power rankings here. Per usual, this is how our power rankings are done. So myself, Kodey, and Gino, we go ahead and rank teams 1 through 20. If a team is ranked at 1, they get 20 points. 2, 19, 3, 18, so forth and so forth. And then once we rank all the teams, I add up all the points that each individual program has accumulated from our rankings, and then I add them up, and then there you go there. Your team with the most points is number 1, and so forth and so forth. So as I go through this, just remember that some of us have other teams ranked higher or lower than others, but our PMC rankings is what we will be posting on all of our social media at Playmakers Corner if you want to check that out, and is what I am referring to when we do this. So there was some movement this week for sure. Not significant movement, but there was a pretty good amount of movement, whether it was just up 1 or down 1, whichever. But last week, here's how the rankings were. At 20 was Bethel, 19 Graceland, tied at 17 Cottey and Point, 16 St. Mary, 15 Reinhardt, 14 Life, 13 Florida Memorial, 12 Southwestern, 11 Milligan, 10 Campbellsville, 9 Baker, 8 Midland, 7 Weber, 6 Ottawa, 5 Kansas Wesleyan, 4 St. Thomas, 3 Thomas, 2 Warner. Number 1 was Keiser. So there you go there. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into it. Still at 20, and I don't think this is really going to change, is Bethel here. I've not played a game in a while, so there you go there. At 19 is Graceland. They did have some games scheduled here for last week, but they look like they've been canceled. So same boat as Bethel, but they stay at 19. At 18 is Point, who stays. I don't believe Point moves either up or down. And so let's go ahead and talk about Point here. This is what Gino had to say. He says, I don't trust Point at all, and I think the chemistry with the coaches and players is a big question mark for this team's future and their potential as a whole. Kodey does not say anything about Point, so there you go there. They did not play this week, I don't think, so there you go. But I also feel a little shaky about them. Now, at 17, we no longer have a tie, obviously, as Point is at 18. And at 17 is Cottey. This is what Kodey had to say about Cottey, who he moved up one spot. He said, got to win over Southwestern, so they jump a little bit. Gino had this to say about Cottey. He said, a shutout win over Southwestern is crazy, I'm not going to lie. The Comets have a chance to keep momentum going next week with games against Baker, St. Mary, and Midland. And yeah, totally agreed there. That's a big win, I feel like, over Southwestern. You know, I feel like that was a team, that was a game that really got away from them at the beginning of the season. And that was at home, too, so you can't really feel great about that. But they go ahead and get their revenge there. And so for Cottey, you got to feel good about those wins here. And we'll see if they can continue to climb. At 16, we have the University of St. Mary, who stays right there. No change for them. Gino said this about USN. He said, with only one game this week, that was a blowout against Ottawa. I have to drop the Spires back to 16 in this week's rankings. He had USM at 15. Kodey did not say anything about the Spires, so there you go there. Moving on, we have at 15, Reinhardt here, who doesn't move up or down. Gino had this to say about Reinhardt, who he moved up one in his personal rankings. He said this, we got a glimpse of Jada Vick at QB this week, and there might be some serious potential there for sure. Reinhardt is still down at 15 in the rankings, though, since they are yet to get a win since week 1. So there you go there. I think Gino moved St. Mary below Reinhardt, if I'm not mistaken, so that's why they moved up one. For Kodey, he had this to say about Reinhardt, who he moves down a spot. He said, oh, how this team has fallen with no clear-cut backup quarterback stepping up. The depth on this team is hard to overlook at pretty much any position. And yeah, I agree. I think maybe some of these games would have been a lot more winnable with a more experienced quarterback, obviously like Alicia Wyatt, who kind of knows what's been going on, the reads and whatnot. But, you know, it was just a tough go. They played a lot of teams close here, so I don't want to punish them. I don't think I did here. And so that's why they stay right here at 15. Now at 14 is Milligan, who does move down 3 spots compared to last week. Gino had this to say about Milligan, who he actually kept at 12. He said, going winless this past weekend in NAIA games is very concerning for Milligan. I'm not going to drop them out of the top 12 just yet, but it is quite clear that this team is going through some growing pains with a new coach, and I don't really expect them to be a threat here down the stretch. Kodey had this to say about Milligan, who he moved down a spot. He said, rough week for Milligan that seems to have just run out of gas that made the beginning of their season enticing. I moved Milligan down personally from 10 to 15 in mine, and so that's why they moved down a pretty significant amount of spots. Look, they have a lot of potential. I like their quarterback, Bridget Keiser. They have some good playmakers like Ashton Weirley out there. I just don't understand. Man, I just don't know how they could be losing to Campbellsville so much. And Campbellsville is good, though. No, nothing there. But eventually, you're going to play a team close just so many times where it gets to the point where it's like, okay, if we keep playing them close and keep losing, there definitely has to be something that gives here, right? Like, you got to figure something out at this point. And so that is that there, and we'll see what happens. Now, moving up a spot, though, is Life, who moves from 14 to 13. Kodey has this to say about Life, who he keeps at 11, personally. He said, life continues to compete and have chances, and I genuinely don't think the record shows how far this team has come, and if they can just pull out one close win against an established program, it could offer some confidence to win more games like that. Gino had this to say about Life, who he actually keeps up 13. He says, Life had a scary schedule this week with games against Warner and Weber, but they actually did pretty solid. They did a pretty solid job, and even almost got a huge upset win over Weber, For a new program in such a tough conference, you can't help but like what you're seeing so far from the Running Eagles. I moved Life from 14. Actually, I think I kept them at 14. So there you go there. Must have been other teams moving down for them. I like the potential they have, and I kind of agree with Kodey. They really just need to get that one win over an established program to get this thing really rolling here, get over that hump. And I think once they do, that potential is endless. Anything could really happen at that point. So, boom, there you go. At 12 is Florida Memorial, who moves up from 13 to 12 here. I don't think anybody said anything about them. They did not play this week, but it's a result of other teams moving up and down. At 11 is Southwestern, who actually moves up one spot from 12 to 11. Gino had this to say about Southwestern. The win against Midland was nice and showed a lot about their toughness on defense, but the win honestly helped them a ton and basically crippled the Midland offense. They don't rise this week after they got shut out against Cottey, which is inexcusable. They lost 6-0. But I will give them the benefit of the doubt and keep them at 11. Kodey had this to say about Southwestern, who he keeps at 10. He said, kudos to Southwestern for winning a tough upset over Midland in the elements, but I still feel like 10 is the ceiling for this team in year 1. I moved Southwestern back from 15 to 12 here, because I was really tough on them these last couple weeks. But, I got to respect with where they're at right now. Beating Midland is absolutely huge. Obviously, the weather's a big problem, but I'm not going to lie. If you're Midland, they literally play in Nebraska, where I feel like it's the most windy compared to anywhere else in the country. So there's no excuses for them specifically to lose to someone like Southwestern. And so got to give Southwestern a lot of credit there. But I do think they are a little capped with their depth and whatnot, and it is what it is for now. But, just these wins like this just shows how dangerous they are. And, it's interesting because they also lost to Cottey, who I think is deeper than them. And so that really shows, what depth could do for you, but it also shows what great talent, top-heavy talent could do for you as well in the right situations. But I do agree with Kodey that depth is going to be a problem, and they are capped because of it. Now going into our top 10, at 10 we have Baker, who moves down a spot here. Kodey had this to say about Baker, who he keeps at 9. He says, still not going to dip them below Southwestern because I think bar for bar this is still a better team. So there you go there. Gino moves Baker down from 9 to 10. He said, Baker's loss to KW once again showed to me that they are a tier below teams like Ottawa, Kansas, Wesleyan, or even Midland. And yeah, I gotta agree with that as well. I have Baker moving, or actually I think I kept them the same at 11 here. But they do move down, though, as a result of all of our rankings. And, they're a young team. I think they got a lot of potential. I think when it really comes down to it, when you're comparing player to player at each position, they stack up pretty similarly to a Midland, right? Or even to a KW or Ottawa. Maybe not to the same extent, actually, but they definitely stack up similarly to a Midland. And so they just got to play with a little bit more confidence, in my opinion. I think all the ingredients are there. They just got to play with some more confidence, and we'll just have to see where they're at. But I think them being a young program is definitely hurting them moving forward here. But, you can only learn from the experience that you've experienced. So there you go. Now at 9 here is Campbellsville, who moves up one spot. Kodey says this about Campbellsville, who he has at 12. Way to take care of business against Milligan, but the close game with Warner means a bit more for the Tigers, in my opinion. Agreed there. Gino has Campbellsville moving from 10 to 9. He said they got murdered by Thomas, but only lost by 6 to Warner. That Warner game is enough for me to move them up a spot because I don't think any of the teams below them would have came that close to a powerhouse like Warner. And yeah, I definitely got to agree with that. I moved Campbellsville from 9 to 8 here. I really, first off, love their wins over Milligan. Keep winning those close ones, but they also played Warner pretty close, and that honestly says a lot about Warner as well. But for Campbellsville, they're playing at home, they're confident, and you want to see them play confidently, and so that just shows where their potential is at when they're playing at a very high level and belief in themselves. And so we'll see what happens moving forward here, but you got to feel good about them after this last week. Now, moving on here, at 8 is Midland, who stays right here at 8. Gino has this to say about them. He said, I'm not going to penalize Midland for that loss to Southwestern. The win in that game was absolutely miserable, and it made for some terrible circumstances on offense. They have some real dogs on defense, and I still like them as a top 3 team in the KCAC. Agreed there. Kodey also keeps Midland here. Said, I'm not going to knock Midland a whole lot for losing a tough game to win, but it is going to be a learning experience that hopefully they can adapt for. I think I am the only one who moved Midland down. I moved them down from 8 to 10. But they stay here, obviously, at 8. Look, I already said this. They play in Nebraska. It's arguably the windiest home field advantage anywhere. For them to not be able to play in the wind, I think that is pretty close to inexcusable. Pretty close to inexcusable. And so I don't know what happened there, but Southwestern is a solid team here. On the right day, they could catch you off guard. But if you're Midland, with that many veterans too, you got to keep it rolling for sure. Now at 7 is Weber, who stays here. Gino says this about Weber, who he keeps at 7. He said, Weber had an ugly win over Life in another semi-close game against Reinhardt. That would drop them in rankings in any other circumstance, but lucky for Weber that the team below them had a rough week 8. Yeah, agreed there. Kodey has Weber still at 7. He said this team has to be the most battle-tested in close games, but it'd be nice to get a blowout win, but it doesn't get easier with Warner coming soon. And yeah, I agree. Obviously, I kept Weber at that same spot. I mean, they won this week, wasn't the prettiest wins. The first game was definitely a really bad win, but a good one at that. They figured it out down the stretch here, and they were all away games, but, you're kind of hoping for more if you want to move them up. So there you go. Now, at 6 is Ottawa, who also stays right here at 6. Gino had this to say about the Braves. He said the 65-0 bludgeoning over St. Mary is great for the Braves and solidifies their top 6 ranking. They get another crack against KW at home next Saturday in what is sure to be a phenomenal game with a lot on the line for both squads, which is definitely true there. Kodey had this to say about Ottawa, which is nothing, actually. So there you go. They took care of business. And yeah, same here. Didn't have anything to say there. Took care of business. Got feel good about it. At 5 is St. Thomas, who does move down a spot. Gino says this, I've unfortunately dropped the Bobcats this week after that loss to Keiser on Saturday. I have no worries about their defense, but the lack of execution on offense worries me a bit. So they are now at 5 in my rankings. As I mentioned in the recap of that game really showed that St. Thomas might be a tier below the top 2 teams at the moment. So there you go there. Kodey said this about St. Thomas. I know that STU lost to the top spot, but that won't be enough to drop them below KCAC comp. I did drop them below one KCAC team, and that's the one ahead of them here. I don't know what is going on with the offense over there. It's all the same players, even some improvements too as well. And it just, they haven't played like a full 4 quarters of an offensive football game at the top of their potential. And against a team like Keiser, who, has a good defense for sure, but I think this offense can also play them competitively. They just didn't play them competitively enough. I don't know what needs to give. Maybe they just need to catch fire at the right time, and that could be it. but right now I just do not feel as great about St. Thomas. They are a wild card for sure. I don't want to count them out as, not being contenders or anything, but they are definitely a wild card. And so we'll see what happens there. I think St. Thomas and Ottawa are both in that spot. Now, the team that moves up in St. Thomas's spot is Kansas Wesleyan, who's now at number 4. Gino has this to say about KWU. He said the Coyotes are red hot right now with a dominating win over Baker this week, and after taking care of Ottawa last week, they move up to 4 in my rankings after St. Thomas's loss to Keiser. Kodey had this to say about KWU, who he has a 5. Bouncing back and beating Baker this time and finishing the game, slamming the door on them is how it should have went last time. And yeah, I agree, but I'm moving Kansas Wesleyan up here. I feel good about this KWU team. Their quarterback is in the MVP conversation and is a legit contender. They have some great receivers. Defensively, they're very good when healthy, and so I like them. They have a chance to seal the deal on the regular season conference title here soon, and so hopefully they will. And if they don't, then they'll just move back. So there you go. At 3 still is Thomas. Kodey says this about them, big dubs. Gino has this to say about Thomas. Thomas absolutely took care of business this weekend with 3 complete dominations over Campbellsville and Milligan, where they gave up 0 in both of those games. That's a hell of a way to show out in the Campbellsville Invitational. Absolutely agreed there. You got to feel good about that. Also, Alexa Wilson and Caitlin Herb winning Sun Conference OPOY and Offensive Player and Defensive Player of the Week, not Offensive Player of the Year or anything yet, but definitely probably in that conversation. So gotta love that there. So there you go. At number 2 is Warner. Kodey had this to say about Warner. Warner survived some games this week, but surviving upset watch is something good teams gotta do as well. So they'll stay at number 2. Gino had this to say about Warner. Needing OT to beat Campbellsville and only putting up 12 is a bit concerning. Shutting out Reinhardt in life is a plus for the Royals, though. I think this weekend showed us more than anything that Warner's offense is a bit of a question mark, especially since they didn't play any teams in the top 8 and still struggled to put much points on the board. Yeah, I gotta be honest, I don't think it's the whole offense. I think some execution at quarterback is definitely needed there. It feels like she just had a rough week and missed a lot of easy throws, and not just throws, but also reads as well. And so I don't know what to think here. She's the starter for the rest of the season, I would assume. I don't think she's played that bad to play her out of it, but it is very apparent to me, at least, and this is just my opinion, that those receivers are doing a lot of heavy lifting. And so we'll see. I mean, Crooks, she has her good days and bad days. I think it's just about staying hot at the right time. So there you go. Now at number 1 still is Keiser. Gino says this. Keiser reassured everyone who doubted their number 1 ranking on Saturday with their 25-13 win over St. Thomas. The Seahawks have the best quarterback in the nation and a loaded core of receivers, and that was on full display against St. Thomas. Kodey said this about Keiser. Big games and big dubs, while their closest competition seems to be faltering a little bit. The Hawks just look stronger every game. And yeah, I have no choice but to agree there. Keiser, man, this could be their year, is all I'm saying. This could be their year. They're on fire right now. They're playing good football. They still need to win the Sun Conference, obviously. I think that is obviously their biggest goal right now. And then after that, national championship and just staying healthy. And so we'll see what happens moving forward, but it's really hard to not believe in Keiser right now with dominating win after dominating win. So there you go there. Those are our Week 8 2024 NAIA Women's Flag Football Rankings. Once more, at 20 Bethel, 19 Graceland, 18 Point, 17 Cottey, 16 St. Mary, 15 Reinhardt, 14 Milligan, 13 Life, 12 Florida Memorial, 11 Southwestern, 10 Baker, 9 Campbellsville, 8 Midland, 7 Weber, 6 Ottawa, 5 St. Thomas, 4 Kansas Wesleyan, 3 Thomas, 2 Warner, and still at number 1 is Keiser. All right, once again, thank you so much for rocking with us. We really appreciate all the support, which we've been getting kind of a lot of, and so absolutely love that. If you want to continue to show that, go ahead and leave a like, a comment, whatever. Find us on social media at Playmakers Corner, and anywhere you can listen to podcasts at Playmakers Corner to do that. Once again, sorry about not being able to cover all of the Campbellsville Invitational in detail, or as much detail as usual, but hey, We're going to Atlanta, or as in Kodey and Gino are going to Atlanta. We got expenses. We just can't be paying for stuff like that right now. And so there you go there. But we're going to cover many more games as the regular season winds down, as playoffs comes around, and we have postseason football. It's going to be good. And so make sure you tune in next week for more of that and more here in the coming weeks. But until then, you'll hear me later.